Hello YouTube, this is day 2 of Daily Yap, and today I will talk about how I learned to speak English. In case you haven't noticed, I do have an accent. That's because English is not my native language. I was born and raised in Chile, that's where I am right now, but I still speak a pretty fluent English, and no, this is not common amongst Chileans. So yeah, I don't know, I wanted to talk about how did I learn to speak so fluently. In school, I'm saying like high school, and the lower grades, I did have English, but I felt like those lessons were like really basic. They, now that I look back, they did give me like a really core understanding on how to say things, for example, in the past, or in the future, like I will do something, I did do something, maybe like could, would, but honestly, like we didn't practice enough to really like speak, to have a conversation. What happened was that we could like read and some could like really hear pretty good, but that was about it. I think I started to getting like really good at hearing English through the internet, with YouTube actually. I started watching like a lot of videos, science videos, and also other videos. And the more that you hear and hear English, the more you're getting used to it. Back in those days, you didn't have like the auto captions. So if you didn't understand something, you just like, I don't know, like try to muscle through it. I actually remember, back in those days where I'm saying like 2008, 9, 10. And so there were a lot of memes and they were pretty memorable. I remember there was a guy talking about a cheeseburger. And I could understand words like cheeseburger, but all the in-betweens, especially when people, speak like natively, sometimes I couldn't understand. So I would like watch the video, go to my teacher and maybe ask him like, what did he say here? And he will translate to me. And that was like, yeah, I mean, I think a good part of my learning was going through that slow and painful process of watching a lot of videos, not really understanding what they were talking about, or maybe not understanding the connective words, and then just go and ask. I feel like that process is the part where a lot of people like drop off, and I feel like a lot of Chileans actually do understand English, but they are like super ashamed of speaking. Why is that? It's because for whatever reason, here in Chile, people, oh my god, these birds, I hate them. And that's because here in Chile, people are really like ashamed of speak with an accent, even if they speak good. Like myself, for example, like I've been in the States a couple times working. I work with Americans and with the Europeans, and whenever I talk, I do it through English. Actually, a lot of foreigners here in Pucón, which is where I live, come, and when I speak with them, they're like, oh my god, you have such good English. And I'm like, yeah, I still have an accent. But I remember this one time at a party, one girl was like, okay, like try to speak in English. And I would, speak in English, and she would like laugh, and she was like, oh my god, that's so basic. Like, I mean, I don't think that I have a basic English. I know, weird words like furthermore, and well, I don't know, cognitive bias and shit like that. But I still have an accent because getting rid of your accent is actually pretty hard. And trust me, I've tried. But I remember my ex-girlfriend used to say like, it's always the vowels that you have problem with. Whatever. So yeah, how did I learn to really speak English? And this is the fun part of this video. That was actually playing video games. Back in those days, 2011, I discovered Xbox Live, and I would play, and because there were no Latin American servers, you would just play with the American guys. And of course, you can imagine like American teenagers, they are not, the kindest people. So whenever I would say, really like simple things like, guys, go from the left, or like, hey, they're shooting us, like we need reinforcements, they would mock me. They would say things like, shut up, you Mexican, or like learn to speak English better. And that really pissed me off because I was also a teenager. So I was like, who are these idiots that they think that they can make fun of me for not speaking perfectly English? Well, they don't understand any Spanish at all. So I was like, no, this this can't stay like this. So I would go like, put a lot of effort. I had a friend that actually spoke, well, he speaks English pretty well, and ask him like, okay, teach me some swear words. I want to answer to these assholes and telling them like that they are so ignorant and stupid. And honestly, that's how I really learned to speak English. And of course, over time, as I started making like more friends in English, English speaking friends, and as I started to getting more into my job, which is software engineering, my English got better and better. And as of right now, I think that I do have the hearing ability of a native speaker. And when it comes to speaking, well, I mean, I'm speaking through these videos in English, so I don't think that it's that big of a deal. But I do still keep my accent. And honestly, at one point I wanted to get rid of it. But then when I went to the States, a lot of guys told me like, Ignacio, you probably should keep your accent because, it makes you sound sexy or like exotic or whatever. And I think that right now I'm fine with it. I've actually tried to learn another languages, especially Dutch, German, Portuguese. I'm definitely not fluent in them as much as in English because I've come to realize what really matters to learn a language is just exposure. I remember one polyglot was saying like, I so wish that I could just take an adult and drop him into a place where everyone speaks like only the other language, the language that he or she wants to speak. And I was like, damn, I mean, that makes sense because like advanced learning comes from necessity. When you really need something, and that can be, internal, it's like, oh, I need to do this, so I'm going to push myself to learn. But when you're like in actual need, it's crazy what you can do with just like hand signs. And over time, you just start like getting the important stuff. And I guess that's also why my ex-girlfriend never really learned Spanish because she was with me all the time. So she didn't have to really try because I would like just translate everything. So yeah, well, anyway, that's my story. That's how I learned how to speak English. And to anyone who's watching this video and cares, I would say just if you really want to learn fast, expose yourself to listening and speaking English as much as you can, especially with the internet today. It's so easy. Like having captions, auto captions and everything makes it super easy. There will be some times where you want to be able to actually like read the captions and understand what they are saying because sometimes people speak in slang, sometimes they slur their words. But that also happens in Spanish, right? So yeah, I mean, those are my two advices for you, like improve your exposure and take it as a need. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye.